In Chapter 3, we'll be examining the basics of understanding digital image essentials. The goal of this chapter is to help familiarize you with digital imaging terminology and key components of digital art. First, we'll discuss the difference between bitmap images and vector images. Second, we'll examine the settings for pixel dimensions and resolution in Photoshop. Third, we will see how your computer's display or screen resolution settings impact how you view images. And finally, fourth, we'll learn how to save your content using the most appropriate file type. Bitmap images, also referred to as pixel-based and raster images, use a rectangular grid of picture elements, pixels, to represent images. Pixel is a concatenation of the term picture element. Pixels are the atoms, the basic building blocks of a bitmap raster image. Bitmaps are resolution dependent in that the more pixels per linear inch your file has, the higher the resolution and image quality. In this example, we can see that every pixel is assigned a specific location and color value. And when zoomed out, we can see the entire image that is represented by square pixels. Bitmap images are excellent at rendering gradations of color and shade. On the other hand, vector-based images are not rendered using a rectangular grid of pixels. Instead, vector-based images are mathematically defined lines or curves that can be resized to any size without losing detail. Vectors are resolution independent and are great for logos and other content that will be used in various sizes. Here's an example of vector-based artwork in Illustrator. When we zoom into the image, we can see how crisp the edges are compared to the bitmap image we just saw earlier, which was made of pixels. An advantage of working with vector images is that you can easily redefine those edges or curves without any loss of detail. Next, we're going to cover pixel dimensions and image resolution. Pixel dimensions measure the total number of pixels along an image's width and height. The higher the numbers, the more pixels you have available to work with. We can choose our pixel dimensions when capturing photos from our digital cameras and smartphone cameras, like in this example. We can also choose which pixel dimensions to use when creating a new document in Photoshop. And in Photoshop, we can view the pixel dimensions of our image. Additionally, when setting the screen resolution for our computer's display, we can select our desired pixel dimensions. If your monitor resolution and your photo's pixel dimensions are the same size, the photo will fit the screen when viewed at 100%. How large an image appears on screen depends on the pixel dimensions of the image, the monitor size, and the monitor resolution setting. In Photoshop, you can change the image magnification on screen so you can easily work with images of any pixel dimensions. Let's discuss image resolution in more detail when it comes to the web versus print. When you're working with images and content that will be displayed on the web or a display device, such as a tablet, smartphone, TV, etc., you'll be working exclusively with pixel dimensions. Whereas in print, you'll want the largest pixel dimensions possible to ensure a high-quality print. With web, most of your images will be viewed on monitors or display devices with pixel dimensions often no greater than 1,366 pixels by 768 pixels, and sometimes even smaller. Therefore, be mindful of the image size before you export and upload it to the web. With respect to printed image resolution, resolution is defined as the fineness of detail in a bitmap image and is measured in pixels per inch. The more pixels per inch, the greater the resolution. And as we mentioned, an image with a higher resolution produces a better printed image quality. Typically, a resolution setting of 300 pixels per inch, or PPI, is appropriate for printing. However, talk with your printer first to see what settings they recommend. We'll cover image resolution and size in more detail in Module 3, Chapter 4, when we show you how to export your images for their intended destination, whether it's print, web, or video. Lastly, we're going to cover file formats. When you create documents in Photoshop, the Photoshop format, PSD, is a native file format. It supports all Photoshop features. You can directly import PSD files into many other Adobe applications while preserving many Photoshop features. However, eventually you'll need to export your working file to a particular output destination, such as for the web, print, mobile devices, or video. So it's important to know which file formats are appropriate for which circumstances. Many file formats use some type of compression to reduce the file size of bitmap pixel-based images. Lossless techniques compress a file without removing image detail or color information. Lossy techniques remove detail. JPEG, which uses lossy compression, is appropriate for saving continuous tone images such as photograph and images with a lot of gradation that you want to post on the web and email. While the JPEG format is mostly used for the web, some print shops are recommending their users send them high-resolution JPEG files to print. GIF also uses lossy compression and is appropriate when saving web-based graphics with areas that contain a lot of solid colors. GIF format preserves transparency and allows for animation. Its palette is limited to 256 colors, so it's not appropriate for continuous tone images such as photographs. PNG format is used for lossless compression and for display of images on the web. Unlike GIF, PNG supports 24-bit images and produces background transparency without jagged edges. However, some older browsers do not support PNG images. TIFF is a flexible bitmap image format supported by virtually all Paint, image editing, and page layout applications. It's useful for archival purposes and when working across different applications. You should now be familiar with digital imaging terminology and key components of digital art. Next, join us in Chapter 4 as we discuss elements and principles of design.